This is Stephen Greek, and I'm excited to be with you sharing from my new book. So, you're telling me there's a chance. And we've been talking about motivation. Like, how do I, number one, how do I get motivated? Number two, how do I stay motivated? Number three, once I'm motivated and I'm moving toward action, how do I stay motivated for duration, right? So, I'm going to be sharing a little bit with you about how I have found, for me, how do I get motivated? You get up, you get dressed, you show up, and you get to work. It has very little to do with how we feel. So, for example, we talked about this last time. We said that motivation lasts about as long as a shower. You need it daily. You need to shower daily, sometimes multiple times a day. And that's how motivation works. Because I think when we talk about motivation out here on social media and all the platforms, when we talk about motivation, I think we're looking for that magic pill that makes us feel great. And what we have to learn as leaders, no matter what, if we're leading a family, leading a business, leading a team, motivation is built upon great habits, great decisions. And if we find ourselves lacking motivation, it may be that we need to do a self audit and look inside and look at our schedule. Am I getting enough sleep and rest? I'm a Texas high school football coach, 4-time state champion. I'm a speaker, an author, and entrepreneur. More importantly, I'm a husband. I'm a dad. And what I enjoy doing, what I feel called to do, what I feel motivated to do is to pour into other people, not because I'm anything special, but because I've had so many people pour into me. And so we try to use the platforms of our faith and our family and fitness and these sorts of things to connect with people. And that's all we do. We want to connect with you. So if you feel like this is something that might speak to you, like, follow, share, repost, all those things, we appreciate that because we want to make a difference in your life and the lives of others. But we're talking about motivation. How do I stay motivated when I don't feel like it? And a quote here out of my book, and the title, chapter 11, is called Hard Work. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Tim Noakey. So in the world, in the arena of athletics, we'll get sometimes young people who are extremely talented. They have a lot of natural ability, but they haven't quite learned, many times, not all the time, but they haven't quite learned how to develop the work ethic that a champion possesses. And what I mean by that is you can take a young person who's really talented in youth sports and they get to junior high, and many times they shine in junior high. In fact, they appear to be elite. Okay. And then about the sophomore, the 10th grade year in high school, what starts to happen sometimes is many times when a young person is elite in the youth levels or in the junior high levels, many times, and it doesn't matter the sport, in my opinion, I've seen this in a variety of sports for men and women, all sports, right? Is there's a level of excellence that a young person may possess when they're in the youth or the junior high levels. And then about ninth, but especially about 10th grade, what starts to happen is all those young people that you were better than, they start to catch up. They go through a growth spurt. Maybe they didn't go through puberty as early as that star athlete did, and all of a sudden they start to catch up. Sometimes they get even. And maybe what they lack in natural ability, they have learned to work for everything they're getting. And what happens sometimes is this group over here starts to pass up the highly talented group because this group didn't develop the mental toughness, the discipline, the commitment, the habits that a champion has to have. And sometimes the highly talented group ends up sabotaging themselves. They sometimes have a poor attitude, poor work ethic. They don't want to be coached. They don't. And so that's to me, when we're talking about motivation, I listen to that quote and I think, man, that makes a lot of sense in the sporting world. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I mean, there's very few things that are more frustrating to see a special athlete that has all this God-given ability. They're extremely fast, extremely strong. Maybe they're ultra quick, or maybe they're right. And then, but they don't want to put in the work, or they don't want to receive coaching. And it can really, it's, they say that you're either an energy giver or an energy vampire. An energy vampire is somebody who just sucks the life out of you. You may have some friends like that. You may have some teachers or coaches or parents like that if you're a young person, or vice versa. If you're a CEO and a business owner, you right now could probably walk into a room and you can identify within your first 5 or 6 minutes, you start to see and hear and observe the personalities of those who bring energy to the table that add value to the whole room. And then there's the energy vampires, the people who just pull from the others, right? And so to be good at anything worthwhile, it takes work and hard work. Work hard, work smart, work efficiently. Don't wish that it were easier, wish that you were better. If you like that, drop a comment below, put some hearts, like, follow, share, repost. We appreciate that because we want to get this message out there. I'm going to say that again. Don't wish that it were easier. Wish that you were better. I mean, I'm talking to people tonight that maybe that is a sporting analogy for you and your team. Maybe you're a team captain and man, for a lot of, for some of you, you're in season. It's winter sports, right? It's soccer, it's basketball season, it's track season is starting, soon to be baseball and softball and tennis and golf and all those things that are played in the sport, depending on what state you're in at the high school and collegiate level. Okay. But for others, it's the off season. It's the preseason. They're training, they're lifting, they're running, they're doing all the things that can be exhausting mentally, physically, sometimes emotionally. But what we found is sometimes when we do hard things that are challenging, and that's the title of this chapter is hard work. When we do things that are hard, we actually come into a collision course with ourselves. And I'm not talking about sports. I mean, yes, I'm talking about sports, but I'm talking about marriage. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about running a business. Man, it's uncomfortable to do things that are hard. And we're talking about leadership and motivation from my book. So you're telling me there's a chance. I mean, work, but here's the thing, work hard, but not just work. The secret sauce to most anything that you want to accomplish or experience in life is found within the core principle: work. Outwork your competition. And most of the time, the competition is yourself. I'm my competition. I got to wake up every day and commit to being the best version of myself possible, as a husband, as a dad, as a business owner, as a teacher, as a coach, as a father, right? Those things, those areas, the hats that we all wear on some level. If you're a young person, you got to wake up and you got to be a great student. You got to be great for your family. You got to be help out around the house. Many of you work jobs. If you're an older person, you've got people that are depending on you. And what happens is we are creatures by nature, I believe. Many of us are creatures of comfort. We like to do the things that require the least amount of energy. And that can be dangerous. In life, it's you versus you. In growth, it's you versus you. In work, it's you versus you. In relationships, it's you versus you. In business, in education, in development, in family, in friendships, in sports, in competition, in every area that matters, y'all, it's you versus you. If you agree with that, put an emoji if you think. If you don't like that, put a thumbs down. If you like it, thumbs up, give us a flex, maybe a flaming fire emoji or something. I don't know. I like that one too. I don't even know what that means. Everybody, it means something different to everybody. But I mean, if you've got questions too, write your questions on leadership or motivation. And I may take a few questions tonight, but appreciate you jumping on. We're talking about motivation. We're talking about work from my book. So you're telling me there's a chance. We want to, again, my name's Stephen Greek. I'm a Texas high school state champion football coach. I've been mentored by great coaches, people that I've worked with and for and alongside for many years. Okay. I've had some amazing young people, their families, their parents, teams that we bought into a vision. We established the mission, and then we got to work. And the work doesn't care if you feel motivated or not. Like the work has to be done. The secret is in the dirt, and I'll explain that. Jason Witten, the Hall of Fame, soon to be Hall of Fame tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, I've known Jason for over a decade, and I appreciate his friendship, and he's been an extremely successful not only athlete but high school football coach, and now he has joined the staff of the Oklahoma Sooners. And Jason had a saying. He used to say, "The secret's in the dirt." And as a tight end or a football player, you get down in a stance, you put your hand in the dirt, and then you go to work. Then when that play starts, boom, now you're blocking people. All right, now you're getting after it, and everybody loves the touchdown catch. Everybody loves the winning the game. But like, if people only stood that those things happen because you fall in love with the work. The work, what we have to do, I believe, when it comes to motivation and leadership, is we have to reframe, we have to rethink and love the work. We have to buy into the work. Now, when I challenge you like this, some of y'all may love this. You may like this. You're like, yeah, let's go. I love coach speak. I love locker room talk. And for others over the years, it turns some people off because it sounds too intense. Maybe you have not played a competitive sport. But like, this isn't related just to sports. This could be like if you're in the band and you're wanting to reach first chair in your instrument, or you're in the choir and or you're trying out for that spring musical and you're shooting to have the lead part or this certain part, whatever that is. If you're entering an art contest and you want to get that blue ribbon, whatever it is, like, I think that most of us on some level are I mean, I know young people that they don't care about sports, they don't care about music, but man, you put them in front of a game console and they get on a video game and they become highly competitive. You see them with the headsets on, and sometimes they talk a lot of trash. Do you know anybody like that? If you do, comment below, right? Don't name drop, leave them alone. Don't pick on anybody. But like, everybody in some arena, I believe, can become highly competitive. What if we took that competitive nature in video games, in sports, in business, right? You want to be first. You want to earn that trip that your business has put out. Like, what if we took that competitive nature and then just applied it to the person in the mirror? Now it's on. Like, the version of me yesterday wasn't good enough for who I need to be today, because dynamics and situations and environments change. Or maybe they don't change. Maybe they stay the same and boredom has set in. I don't believe we're designed to sit back on a recliner in life and just, I shared this a few sessions ago, just be made in the shade with a glass of lemonade. Life is good. Like, we all love that. We love vacations. We love getaways. Yes, Mr. Clean. I love that. My wife loves that hairdo especially. I appreciate that comment. Let us know if you have any questions. Man, I get that every session. You think that's the first time I've heard it? I hear that all the time, baby. That's good. Bring your questions on leadership and becoming the young person or the older person that you need to be in life. I believe God's got a calling on your life, and we get comfortable and we need to be pressed on a little bit to become everything that we need to be. We've got a comment here. I think it's constructive to look in the mirror and list your grievances. Work yourself. If I understand what you mean by that, that's so good. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. Like, yes, looking in the mirror, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about motivation. What do we do when I don't feel motivated? And I think every person, whether you're a younger person or an older person, we're because it's part of the human experience. We do sometimes lose that motivation, and that's where we fall back on our habits, our commitments, and the decisions that we made. Because what will happen is, sometimes, have you ever been in a situation where you're like, you heard a pep talk, you heard a coach talk, you heard a motivational and inspirational speaker, and you were like, yes, that is so awesome. I'm going to do these things this year. And then about a week or two into it, boy, that emotion fades. Has that ever happened to you? If it has, comment below and let us know. But like, if that's ever happened to you, see, the decision and the habits and the commitments are there long after the emotions and the feelings fade away. My wife and I, we've been married for almost we've been almost married for almost 3 decades, and I love her. We were high school sweethearts, married in college, and we've been very blessed to go through this journey of life. A lot of great times and many tough times, hard times. And what I had to learn over the years is sometimes we would go through something challenging or difficult, and I would kind of blame it on her, like as if she caused the problem. What happened is I failed to look in the mirror and see where, when you're in a marriage covenant, you're in a partnership like that, like you're on the same team, and we had to get to a place where we were like, look, it's not your fault, it's not my fault. Like, the problem is the problem. You're not the problem, I'm not the problem. Now, sometimes our reaction to that situation might be the problem, but like that's why it's important, like you said, is we've gotta look in the mirror and see, hey, what is there anything that I can do differently? Is there anything that I can bring to the table to make this situation better? I've got a question that says, hey brother, what's your biggest motivation advice for a 17-year-old? Well, first of all, I appreciate that question, because I work with teenagers on a regular basis, and there's not a whole lot of teenagers that even humble themselves enough to reach out to someone and say, hey, I'm coachable, I'm teachable, I want to be motivated. I want, for me, and I shared this in a few sessions past, we have 3 sons. Our older 2 sons our oldest just graduated from college with his master's. Our middle son is working toward his college degree, and our youngest son just graduated from high school. And having worked not only with our 3 sons, but also thousands of teenagers over the years and over the decades, what we do is a regular inventory. So like a lot of people, just a couple of weeks ago, we're doing New Year's resolutions. Like, we're talking about leadership and motivations. Like, okay, everybody write down your top 3 goals for the year. And that's good. And I would never make a mockery of that, because we shared last session that if I were playing darts and the dartboard's right there, there's a bullseye. And if I have a dart, I'm aiming for the bullseye. And you know what? I might miss the bullseye a little bit or a lot, but at least I was aiming for something. I think we have to know when we wake up in the morning, like, I'm going after these 2 or 3 things, and I'm going to attack those things. It might, for some of us, I think, there was a book written years ago, say you change the world by making your bed every day. That's not the title of the book, but the concept was this. And the first time I heard that, wait, why and how could I change the world by getting up and making my bed? I'll just pause there, and if you have some thoughts on that, go ahead and write your thoughts, because you think about that. It's like making your bed. Like, what does that have to do? No, it has nothing to do with making your bed, and it has everything to do with making your bed. Because when you get up in the morning and you establish great habits and great routines, and you learn to make your bed in the morning, what happens is now you start to look for other areas of your life and my life where we can have elite discipline. Like, I want to have discipline. Do you get exercise in some level? For some of us, it's walking. For some of it's swimming. For some of it's my wife's mother. She is in her late 60s, and she loves to do pool aerobics. She goes to the pool and she loves the routine. Like whether you're a grandparent, whether you're a middle-aged, whether you're a teenager or a young person, my sister runs half marathons on a regular basis, and she has 4 younger children, and she gets the little ones out there and they walk the track with their mama, and they go and they do. Like, find something that you enjoy. I would never say, oh, you need to do this. Like, who am I to tell you what you need to do? Find something that inspires you, that you enjoy, and then do the work. Because back to what I said a little while ago about Jason Witten saying, the secret of being a champion and being great is putting your hand in the dirt and learning to love the practice and the work. The secret is in the dirt. If you're a football player, you put your hand in the dirt and you practice, and you got to fall in love with that, because it is very hard. And so I think to answer the question is we've got to learn to do hard things and fall in love with doing hard things, because things that challenge us will help us become more. And so there's in the 1970s, Dawn Staley grew up in Philadelphia's Raymond Rosen Projects, a concrete jungle where basketball courts were her sanctuary amid poverty and crime. Some of you may be on this video and you live in an apartment complex or in a neighborhood that's maybe what we would call less than desirable. Others of you are jumping on here and you live in a large, beautiful home, beautiful neighborhood, established, safe, whatever that is. Whether you're rich or poor, or you come from the projects, or you come from the suburbs, what happens is people get lost in the video games. They get lost in the schoolwork. They get lost, and sometimes we lose our direction. And it happens to parents. It happens to old and young alike. But Dawn Staley grew up in a neighborhood that probably you would say is less than desirable. But her escape was the basketball courts. Okay, she wasn't the tallest or the fastest. She was 5'6", but she turned you versus you into a daily creed, dribbling through snowstorms, shooting under dim streetlights, rising up at 5 a.m. to train on a hoop nailed to a telephone pole. Now, again, I've had young people say before, "Oh, I love basketball." 20 years ago, I was coaching. I was an assistant coach, and we had a really good team, and we had a very talented varsity team, and then our junior varsity was actually really good too. We probably had some kids that were on the JV that probably any other year they all would have been on the varsity, but we had a pretty loaded varsity squad, and our junior varsity was also very talented. But there was a young man that was a junior who probably could have maybe been on the varsity, but he wouldn't have played a whole lot, and we felt like it was best that he get on the court, get some playing time, and develop. And his mother wanted to meet with our head coach and, just hear what he could do to get better. And she had a great attitude about it and was receptive, wanted some coaching on how she could encourage her son. But she did go off and say, well, he loves basketball. He plays basketball video games, and he's got a basketball fantasy league online. And like that's being a fan of basketball, but loving basketball is doing what Dawn Staley did, dribbling through snowstorms, shooting under dim streetlights, and rising up at 5 a.m. to train on a hoop nailed to a telephone pole. I would say that someone that's willing to do that loves the game. Do you agree? If you agree, go ahead and comment below, because she said this. Dawn Staley told Sports Illustrated, "I didn't wish it was easier. I wished I was better." And that's what we're talking about in this. So you're telling me there's a chance. We're talking about motivation. We're talking about leadership. We're talking about you versus you. I didn't wish it was easier. I wished I was better. What if you and I took that approach every day and stopped pointing fingers and blaming everyone else for why things aren't happening or going our way? And we said, you know what? I need to get better. Are you listening to leadership podcasts? Or are you spending 5 hours a day on the social platforms just consuming junk? Let me know. This is real talk right now. And it's okay. This is no judgment zone. There's no judgment here. But real talk is, I want to get better. Well, okay, so what podcasts are you listening to? What leadership books are you reading? Because here's what we know. Leaders are readers. And it can be very challenging. You say, well, I'm not a reader. I don't. Okay, so do the audiobooks, or put on one of the social platforms and just listen to leaders talk and train. You can learn so much. When it comes to leadership, if you would just commit. And that's what I'm saying. I'm reading some of these comments, and you guys are hilarious, man. You come on here, you have no clue what we're talking about, and you're going to wake up and realize about 5 or 10 years from now that it's you versus you. And you'll remember, you should have remembered, and you should have listened to the truth that we're dropping tonight, baby. That's what we're talking about. There's the peanut gallery everywhere, sitting in the stands. The hater's going to hate, right? But we're changing lives here. We inspire people. We influence people. We encourage people. And we impact people's lives. That's what we're doing. And you know what? We ignite the champion inside of everybody. Yeah, that's right. 5 or 10 years from now, come back. We'll see how it's going. But you know what? Don't wish it were easier. Wish it were better. Wish you were better. Every day we got to wake up, and if we want the motivation to become everything that God created us to be. I heard someone say, pray like it depends on God, but work like it depends on you. And that is such a big component to our own personal development. Is why am I smiling? Because I got a message that's going to change lives. That's why I'm smiling. That's why I'm smiling, because there's a lot of people out there who are very negative, just like some of the people on these comments. Haters gonna hate. There's the peanut gallery. Everybody's got all the solutions and all the answers, but they're not willing. God gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason. And anytime that you're around a champion, sometimes it's time to be quiet and listen and learn and be teachable. And I don't have all the answers, but I've made a ton. I've made a ton of mistakes, but I've learned a few things over the years. And there's another quote that said this: I've learned that anything in life worth having comes from patience and hard work. You got to work hard for the things that you want in life. You want a great marriage. You want a great relationship. You want to be a great athlete. You can't say that you've got a fantasy football team and love video games. If you want to be a great basketball player, you got to be like Don Staley and wake up, set that alarm at 5 a.m. And if it's snowing outside, you got to go put in the work. You got to go put in the work. And so belief in the mission is required. Belief in each other. Belief in the strategy, belief in the vision, belief in the process, belief in ourselves. It takes commitment. Then we take the belief and we transfer it into our daily habits. We're talking about motivation. Motivation lasts as long as a shower. That's why we need it daily. Some people on here are battling depression, discouragement. And some of us, for some of you, if I may be talking to one person tonight, not the people on here that know it all. I'm talking to the people who tuned in and said, man, this guy's saying something with a passion and a fire in his belly, and I need to lean in and listen to it. Listen, I have worked with thousands and thousands of young people, hundreds and hundreds of adults and business owners, hundreds and hundreds of marriages, hundreds and hundreds of parents, thousands actually. And the thing that I've learned over the years is the human condition is very much the same. Sometimes we're full of pride. Sometimes we've got all the answers, right? But no, what we have is we have a lot of opinions. We think we know how it ought to go. But like what I've learned over the years is if I want to have a successful business, I need to get around the top 5 business people in my area and go take them out to lunch and learn. How did you build that? How did you overcome adversity? How did you, like we're talking about tonight, how did you maintain motivation when you didn't feel like getting up and going to work, going to school, going to practice, going to those things? And what you find, there's a lot of similarities, no matter what arena it's in. A lot of people who want to throw in the towel on that relationship, on their kids or on their parents. And we've got to learn. That, motivation doesn't last, but commitment, dedication, habits, faith, belief, and an overcoming mindset can carry you through those tough times where you lack the motivation. Get around people that are going to encourage you. Get around people that are going to build you up, not around the naysayers and the haters. Here's what we had to learn. Champions work on days they don't feel good. Champions work on days they feel good. Champions work on days they don't want it. Champions work on days they want it. Champions work on days they don't feel good and they do feel good. Like that's the summary of it all. Like, in other words, champions, motivated people, they just keep showing up. That's my message to you tonight is keep showing up. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Keep swinging. Keep chopping wood. Keep carrying water. And understand that it takes commitment to become a champion. It takes patience to become a champion. It takes time to become a champion. And understand this also, there will be growing pains. There will be times that are extremely painful. As you work hard and you focus on personal development and growth, it's challenging. There will be friction. There will be discomfort. Sometimes chasing excellence will rub people the wrong way. That's why there's people on here that are typing in and they've got nothing better to do than to throw shade and haters gonna hate, right? That's okay. I love it. That's why we battle the odds. So you're telling me there's a chance? You got to understand, you got to drown out the noise. You got to put on earmuffs and blinders when it comes to the noise. Those people can't bother you. You just have to, like I'm doing, you just got to acknowledge that those people are out there. And some of you get a lot of encouragement. Some of you are discouraged because you don't have a source of encouragement. Get around a mentor, get around a coach, get around a pastor or a preacher, plug into a community that's going to build you up and encourage you and point you in the right direction. We need community. We need each other. Like, follow, share, all these things. Repost this because we're trying to impact, inspire, influence, and ignite the champion inside of everybody. If you just jumped on, my name's Stephen Greek. I'm a 4-time Texas high school football state champion. But more importantly than that, I'm a husband, I'm a father of 3 amazing sons. And my calling on my life is to encourage people, to try to inspire people to become their best. And we're talking about the topic of motivation and leadership and hard work. And what do we do when we don't feel like getting the work done? We fall back to our commitment. We fall back to our dedication, to our training. There will be growing pains. It takes others to grow. Champion leaders make everyone around them better. You know, they used to say about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan that when they showed up at practice, they were there before everyone else. They were the last to leave, but everyone around them, there was an edge. How they practiced and how they expected you to practice, it elevated everyone's game. And that's what we do as leaders. And if you're not a leader, that's okay. You're a leader in the making. You're a champion in the making. Get around some people that are going to build you up and call you up. Okay? But what we got to understand is there are people out there, when they see you starting to make yourself better and stronger, they're going to try to pull you down. They're going to try to pull you down. And we got to understand that is causing disunity, division. And here's what we got to understand. Disunity creates division. Division splits locker rooms. Divided teams ultimately will not stand, and division will split relationships. Disunity will destroy friendships, and disloyalty will break business partnerships. Division brings dysfunction and disaster. This is why leaders must work extra hard for unity in their relationships with others. And so I'm talking to all the business owners, the CEOs, all of you who are in an assistant role. Your job is to be loyal. You're to the chair. Your job is to be loyal to the brand, right? Now, not when there's something unethical going on, and that's another topic. But like, if your leader says this is what we need to accomplish, it's let's get this done. The same is with you're an athlete. If your coach paints the vision, then these are the things we got to do, and here's how we're going to get there. Then everybody needs to buy into that, because opinions, everybody's got their opinions. Close your mouth and go to work. Close your mouth and go to work. Put the work in. Those are the things we need to do. It takes others to become a champion. You know, the work is what changes us. And just like Jason Witten said, the secret is in the dirt. I saw a poster of a team that listed their objectives for an upcoming season. I think you'll like this. The poster on the wall and objectives handed out to the players said the following. What do you see there? Type that out. If you can see that, type that out. What does it say? Type it out down there so I know that you see it. Yeah, it's got one objective 1,000 times. Work. That's the motivation. The motivation is I'm going to get up and do the work that is required to become a champion. How about you? To become a champion husband, to become a champion father, to become a champion son or daughter, to become a champion grandparent, to become a champion in your marriage, a champion in your relationships, a champion at your church, a champion in your faith, a champion at your company, in your business, because people are relying on us. People are depending on us to be our best. And the competition isn't you versus everyone else. It's you versus you. It's you versus the version of you that's lazy, sloppy, negative, disloyal, unforgiving, lazy. It's you versus you. And so when we see that, work, there's the motivation. Let's get up and do the work. Work harder, work smarter, work together, work with a good attitude, Enjoy the work, love the work, the secret's in the dirt. Champions understand the work is what changes us. My name's Stephen Greek. I'm a 4-time state champion Texas high school football coach, but I'm a husband, I'm a dad, I'm a business owner. And we're here to inspire, impact, influence, and ignite the champion inside of everybody. So if you liked this tonight, type a message below. Let us know some topics you want to cover. Make sure you follow, like, share, repost, share, all those things. We're on all the socials, websites, etc. But we want to inspire you, encourage you, and help you to be your best. Tonight's topic was motivation, leadership, work. The secret is in the dirt. Let's put the work in. It's you versus you. Let's attack that version of ourselves that's lazy, sloppy, selfish. And let's wake up every day, look up for strength, look out to impact others, and let's go make a difference in people's lives. Have a great day.